Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to, I told you it was going to be a double episode today because I didn't record one for you on Saturday. So I'm making it up to you now with this second one, but welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. If we haven't met yet, g'day, my name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme and I'm the host of the show. It's so great to see you here. Welcome to the new subscribers. And of course, thank you so much to everybody who continues to push play on these episodes. And just before we get started today, I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to Morgan Smith. So she has an Instagram account that is brand new that you should definitely get over and follow. It is called Wild Her Soul. So hit pause now, scroll down to the show notes. I've put the link to her Instagram account for you there. Go and give it a follow because she's got some really exciting stuff coming up for you that I know you're going to love. If you're a wild woman at heart and want to connect back in with your soul through nature and through connecting with other women, you are going to absolutely love what she's got planned for you. But so you don't miss out, get over there in Instagram, tap follow, and stay tuned. I'm so excited for what's to come with her. Okay, so today I wanted to talk with you about something that comes up in some of the groups that I've observed, and guess what? I'm not the only one that's seen this. And I wasn't really sure what to call today's podcast. I haven't actually named it yet at the time of recording this. I'll come up with a name when I go to publish it, I'm sure. But I wanted to talk into the idea that in counselling groups and social work and psychology groups sometimes, but I see it mostly in counselling groups. I don't know why, but there seems to be this big focus on not paying for anything. What I mean by that is just my experience, and this is only my experience and only my opinion, but as someone who was in all the psychology groups when I was a psychologist for over 20 years up until September last year, of course I was in psychology groups. And people would talk about their professional development that they were offering, talk about all sorts of different things, and nobody would ever bat an eyelid really about the fee. People would just say, okay, that's the fee. And they would either pay it or not, and that was fine. However, since I've moved into a counselling space, it's been a little bit of a culture shock for me because what I've noticed is that some people are very, very vocal about paying for things. And there seems to almost be, and I could be wrong, again, it's only my experience, but it seems to me like there's almost a culture there of, if somebody's asking for money for their PD, then they must be a really bad person. You shouldn't do that. Everybody knows counsellors should get things for free, and everybody knows counsellors shouldn't be paying for stuff, and you're greedy if you ask for money. And there seems to be a lot of this. I'm not sure if you have seen that as well in any of the groups that you're in, but I guess because I'm in a unique position of having all that experience in one group and then being in the other, it really is such a contrast to me. And it's not something I've really spoken into before because I appreciate it's quite sensitive, and I wanted to get my own thoughts right before I spoke into it because I know it's probably going to be uncomfortable for some people to hear. So let me preface our conversation today by saying I love you very much, and this is only coming from love. It's just coming from my experience, but hopefully, if any of what we're about to talk about resonates with you, stick with me because I will help you on the podcast today. I will help you shift through that mindset so that you can start to get ahead in your practice, because this is the other thing that I see as well. A lot of counselors are kind of stuck at the very beginning stages of their business. And, that's not something that we often see in some of the other professions. There is a contrast there. And I just wonder if it's because, and I'm speaking generally, I know that, and there's always exceptions to the rule, but in my experience, what I've observed is that, the transition from, social work or psychology into private practice seems to go a little bit differently than it does for counsellors. Counsellors can sometimes take a little bit longer, and it can be a little bit more of a struggle for them. And it's not about Medicare. Honestly, it's not about Medicare. I think it's more about mindset. So, in the spirit of trying to help you with this, let's get stuck into it. So I'm going to look at this from two ways. And the first one is from the space of giving, because I think you'll all agree as women, I think most of us are in the space of giving and giving and giving. And it's something that we really love to do. However, giving is a very masculine energy-based activity. In fact, when we're in our feminine, we want to be receiving. So I think this is energetically our first hiccup, but we get into this habit of giving because we're conditioned and programmed to think that's what nice girls do. They give away stuff. But here's the thing, and I'm talking about giving away free sessions. I'm thinking about giving away your free PDF, giving away a free 15-minute training or a free meditation or something like that, constantly giving away free things. Like I was talking to somebody earlier this week about her lead magnet, and she was telling me how many people downloaded it. She wasn't happy with that number. And then she said, so I think I'm going to create another freebie for them. I was like, no, don't do that. Let's just work on the one that you've got first. Because here's the thing. People don't, people that don't necessarily need what you're offering can sometimes just take it out of greed, or because they're stockpiling, or they think they might need it later, a fear of missing out, or, just for the sake of taking it. And you know what? I think that I have probably done this before as well. I think all I have to do, honestly, like this is so embarrassing to share with you, but in the spirit of being honest and transparent, I could take a screenshot of my list of emails that come through my inbox. I've subscribed to so much free stuff and I barely ever read it. In fact, periodically every 6 months or so, I'll go through and unsubscribe from things. I don't even know why I wanted to download that PDF. And guess what? I signed up to get it. I ended up on somebody's email list, and I can't even remember what it was that I wanted to read or get or download, right? And so I just got it because I thought at the time, oh yeah, well, I'm not working on this at the moment, but in future it'll be really handy. No, it's not. I just took it for FOMO or stockpiling, and I've never looked at it. I can't even remember. Do you know what I mean? Like, has that ever happened to you as well? Like, please tell me I'm not alone with this inbox situation. Okay, the other thing that comes through for me is that if people don't really need what you're giving away for free, they're not going to use it. That's kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? So you can go along and send them free things all the time, like with your how-to posts or your how-to emails, and they're probably not even going to do anything with it. They might not even open the email because they just don't need it. So, of course, they're not going to use it. So, yeah. The third one is that it feels so good to give. Like, don't you just feel like it's one of the most joyful things in the world, like to be able to recognize your abundance and be able to spread the love? I know I give away free stuff a lot. It's something I really, really like to do. However, right, in areas or spaces, or dare I say online groups, where free things are given to everyone and frequently, it can create a culture of entitlement. And I think that's what we see sometimes in, I'm not picking on counselors, I'm just sharing my experience, but I think this is sometimes what we see. For example, I can speak from my own experience here. I shared the same post in a few different groups earlier on this year, and I didn't get any pushback apart from the counselors group. And the first person that responded said, is this free? So all I was doing was I was sharing a training that I had, and I was giving them some information about that. It was free, but I didn't say that in the post. The post just simply had a picture and it gave an explanation of the overview of the training and what they were going to leave with. And I made this beautiful workbook and I did all of this nice stuff. So the psychologists and the social workers and some counselors were like, oh, this is great. Yeah, where do I sign up? But there were other counselors, and you can still go back and see the posts. There were other counselors who were like, how much are you charging for this, Brooklyn? Is this free? Is this, and I just thought, and it was almost aggressive, almost brutal. And it was really like there was an expectation that it should be free. But this only showed up with the one client population. That's what I'm saying. This is why I want to raise it. Nobody's talking about this, so I wanted to discuss it with you guys. All right. And the other thing is, when we give stuff to people, it's like when we're giving things to clients, it's kind of disempowering because we're not supporting them in, learning how to be resourceful. We're not supporting them in finding their own ways to make things happen. And I think as a result, what we end up doing, although it's the opposite of what we want to be empowering them, which is why we're giving them this. But I think when we're frequently giving them free things, it can actually keep people dependent and waiting for the next free thing to receive. And again, I have seen this in groups as well. People are like, oh no, I'm not going to invest in that now, or I'm not going to grab this. I'm not going to pay for this now, even though it's only $17 because, Brooklyn gives away a lot of free stuff and I'm sure she'll have something on this. So I'll just ask her for that and she'll put it together and I'll just get it for free then. That has happened to me countless times. So maybe it's happened to you too, and you can relate to that. So I think as a giver, there are 4 points that you really want to consider. Like, if you want to be empowering people, do you want to keep giving them free things? Really think about your intention before you give away the free thing. And even me, like, I've got these 15-minute calls at the moment that I'm doing for people to help them with identifying the gaps in why they're not getting referrals. And I do those calls for free, and everybody gets an action step and it's all great and I love doing them. But I cap them, I only do them for 3 or 4 people. I don't do them for everybody. And the other thing is I do have longer calls, but I charge for those. So my structure is I charge, $1 for that call. If they get a lot of help and value out of that call, then they pay $97 at the end of it. And if they decide that they want to join me in coaching or mentoring or supervision or something like that, then that $98 is put towards, the cost of doing some work with me. And I have found that since I've been charging for those calls, the engagement's been so much better and the quality of my leads has just improved so much, and I love doing it. But yeah, just be mindful about what your intention is when you're giving the free things, and think about what would make the most sense for you and for the person that you're giving this to. So I said at the start that I wanted to look at this topic from a couple of different angles. And so the other angle that I want to explore now is like getting into the space of receiving the freebie. The more people are invited to download a freebie, the less they will see the need to start paying for help or paying for a course or paying for a resource or something like that that's going to really help them get to where they need to be in their business, okay? And what ends up happening sometimes, is you've probably noticed too, is it can create a culture whereby people just don't take responsibility for their practice and, and what they desire. So they get stuck because they're trapped in that space of not seeing the value in things and not wanting to pay for help. And what this looks like in real terms is if you've got somebody who is relying on freebies over here, and then you have another person over there, and they're making small periodic investments in their practice, whether it's a professional development course or whether it's their supervision or group supervision or whatever it is, which person A or person B, do you think is going to achieve their private practice dream the most quickly? Well, it's going to be person B. Which person do you think is going to feel most supported in achieving that? Well, it's going to be person B. Which person do you think will have better confidence or greater confidence? It's going to be person B. Which person do you think is going to get the most out of whatever it is they're accessing? It's going to be person B. And why is that? It's because when we've got skin in the game, we want to get something back. And, when you get something for free, there's no real exchange there. You're not paying, you're not giving, you're only receiving. There's no energy exchange there. And we know energetically there always needs to be that flow, right? It's got to be giving and taking. If we're only taking, then things are out of balance and they're out of alignment, and it's just going to take you so much longer to get where you need to be in the business. The other thing that came to mind is that, when I speak into this idea of higher perceived value, it's, I was talking to a therapist this morning, and she was telling me that she needs more referrals. And I said, why? And she said, to fill my diary. And anyway, so we kept going on and on about why she wanted to get the referrals. And at the end, what it came down to was money. And I asked her what her hourly rate was, and she said $25. And, I was like, why are you only charging $25 for your sessions? And she said, well, it used to be $20 until I listened to your podcast. And then in May, I increased it by, $5. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, well done on increasing it by $5. But why are we only sticking to this low amount? She was like, well, people can't afford it. And here we are back to that. It's almost, the to me level of consciousness that we're talking about a couple of podcast episodes ago. We have to really start to appreciate that when you're charging a reasonable fee, and in Australia, the statistics show that on average a counsellor, regardless of who they're working with and where they're located, will charge between $150 and $250. So when you're only charging $25, how do you think your service is being perceived by clients? And what clients are you going to attract when you're only charging that amount of money? All right, you draw your own conclusions. We've been over this before. If you're new to the podcast, go back. Otherwise, I'm going to get ranty, and I don't want to get ranty today. I'm trying to have a calm day. Okay, so I think, when something's being given to you for free, and when somebody's constantly showing up in your space, constantly giving you free, and then all of a sudden they make an offer to you, it's probably a good idea to take them up on that offer, because they've already demonstrated their worth and the value of their service to you, and they're in a position where they can support you and help you and get you to close the gap from where you are now to where you want to be. But if you're constantly receiving the freebies and you're not ready to take that step, well, things just aren't going to work as quickly for you, because when you get all of the free stuff, you're going to think it mustn't be that good. Okay. And again, look in your inbox. Have a look at all these mailing lists you've probably subscribed to, and really go through them and think, which one do I really open a lot, and which one do I get value from, and when was the last time I downloaded something, and how did I even get on this email list? The third point is that, not all the time, I'm just going to go out on a limb here, because this will land for some people, not everyone. So if it's not you, but just bear with me. But if it is you, again, I say this with love, but sometimes as women practitioners, we don't always value ourselves. Maybe we're just in like a really uncomfortable place with life, or we're in a really difficult place with business, or it's just one of those phases that we go through. But sometimes when we don't value ourselves, or they don't value, or we don't value, the freebie highly, well, we're not going to invest in anything beyond the freebie, and we're going to feel entitled to just constantly continue receiving the free things. I think this is so important, because if you don't see your own worth, then how are you going to justify or make it okay or rationalize or explain to yourself or get in alignment with investing in something? It's just not going to happen. If you don't feel worthy of, getting the supervision you want, then you won't get it. You'll go and get cheap group supervision somewhere and not love it and just tick it off as it's part of your requirement with ACA or PACFA or the APS or whoever you're with, AASW. Do you see what I mean? So you have to be able to see your own worth in order to be able to invest in your private practice. Maybe I know so many people at the moment are talking about EMDR courses that they want to do, or vagus therapy courses that they want to do, and things like that. But if you don't feel good about you, and how are you going to find the money to pay for that? Like, how are you going to rationalize pay? You won't. And you're going to be stuck in this spot where you are now, saying, I'll do it when I can afford it. But guess what? The time is never going to come when you can afford it, because it's not about the money. It's about how you feel within. Do you see what I did there? I know, right? It's a little bit of coaching on the podcast as well. So, speaking of a little bit of coaching on the podcast, let me give you some guidance, because I did promise to do this at the start of the show, didn't I? Okay, so let me ask you a few questions here. First of all, how does not investing in yourself or not investing in your private practice impact on your practice? Okay. And, I've given you some suggestions, like maybe it's just going to take you, a lot longer to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be, for example. But also, when you're not investing in yourself, or when you're not investing in your practice, I'm not talking about tens of thousands of dollars. I'm talking even like the $50, training or whatever it is. But when you're not taking that step, where does it leave you? Like, what do you say to yourself when, a course crosses your page, or somebody shares in the group that they've got some, vagus therapy training coming up and it's going to be $297? What do you say? Like, what goes through your head? Do you say, oh, this sounds great, I want to enroll? Or do you say, sounds great, I don't have the money, so I can't, I'll wait till next year? Or are you saying, I really want to do this, how can I make it happen? Like, what goes on in your mind? What level of consciousness are you operating at? Are you in to me, by me, through me, or as me? Identify the level that you're at, and then find a way to support yourself in shifting up to the next level. The next thing would, and my friend Kim reminded me of that during the week. So thank you very much, Kim. Was with something I was struggling with, because private practice, it's not symmetrical, is it? It's up and down, up and down. Okay. The next one is, how would things be different for you in your life, or in your private practice, in your business, if you did take that step to invest? Like, what would you be receiving that you're not getting now? Okay. You can answer that. You don't need my suggestions on that one. All right. And from there, what would you be thinking, feeling, seeing, doing, or experiencing differently? What would your private practice be like? Okay. So let's say you did take that step and you paid for $297 for the introductory EMDR course, or you enrolled in your supervision or something like that. What are you then feeling? Are you feeling better? Are you feeling proud? Are you feeling confident? Are you feeling supported? Are you feeling excited, hopeful, like you've got a plan, like you're not alone, like you're finally getting what you need? What are you doing differently now that you've got this help? Do you feel like, now I'm on the right track. Now I know what to do. Now I've got the steps. So do you have that clarity that you didn't have when you weren't investing? What are you experiencing? Are you experiencing new confidence? Are you experiencing an expansion of your services? Are you experiencing a reconnection with your soul? Are you experiencing embodiment of your values? Are you experiencing increased turnover and profit? Are you now experiencing a better quality of leads that you're generating for the practice? Like, really think about what it is. And from that space, with that new awareness, what could a new belief be that you could now hold about investing in your practice or investing in yourself, right? Rather than saying, I can't afford it, rather than saying, oh, here comes somebody trying to sell me something, what a meanie, oh, she's so greedy, or he's so, instead of saying that, and believing that, what could you believe now that you've had a chance to process what can become possible for you? Maybe the new belief might be something like, I understand I'm resourceful and I can make things happen and I see the value in this, or whatever it is. But work through these questions that I just gave you and see what came up for you. But, and definitely an action step, another one. So action step number 1, use these questions I just gave you as journal prompts and work through them. Action step number 2 would be, if you want to get some help with this, come and join the community. It's free. It's called Australian Counsellors in Private Practice Online. That can be an action step that you can do today. Just hit pause, scroll down to the show notes, hit join. I'll add you. It's not a problem. At least in there you can come and you can get some support in shifting mindset, shifting beliefs, connect with others who are on a similar journey to you. All right? Because, of course, we really want to help you move from point A to point B, but we have to let go of this mentality that you're never going to have to invest in everything. It doesn't work like that. You invested in your qualifications. You probably invested in your branding and your website and your logo. You probably invested in, I don't know, a computer or a camera or your IT or, your diaries, and you're making investments all the time. But investing in yourself and your knowledge is a natural next step. It's not something that can wait. It's not something you delay. It's not something that you put off, because guess what? Without that business knowledge, or without that new course, or without that CPD, or without that supervision, or without that mentoring, your practice is going to stagnate. You're going to hit a wall, and you're going to be comparing yourself to all the other women in all the other groups who started with you but are further along on the journey. And what's that going to do to your confidence and your self-esteem? It's not going to be great. But the difference between you and them might be they decided to back themselves and take action and find ways to be resourceful so that they could get progress in their business. Does that make sense? I hope so. So go and check out Morgan's Instagram. Go and join the ACPPO, and connect with me in that group. I'm here for you to help you and support you. And yes, at some point I'll have things that you can buy if you want to as well, like we all do. All of us are doing not only private practice, but so many of us are women supervisors, are women mentors, are women coaches for all different things. So if you're experiencing a situation whereby people aren't buying your stuff, have a look at your own buying behaviors and see what you're saying when people sell to you, because you're going to get back what you put out. If you think when people sell to you that that's mean and they shouldn't be doing it and it's greedy and it's not okay and they should be doing it for nothing and blah, 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 that's probably what your clients are going to be thinking about you when you turn up to sell. And then you're going to say, selling's hard, selling's horrible, I don't like selling, no one buys my stuff. Yeah, it's because like attracts like. So shift your vibe, start investing in yourself, and you will start to attract clients that invest in themselves too. That's how it works on an energetic level. You know this. All right, you know this. I'm just giving you a hard truth today because I love you so much and I want it to land, and I want you to experience the abundance, experience the joy, experience, that, I don't know, like that just excitement of getting to do the powerful work that we get to do every single day in our businesses. So I hope this helps. I look forward to seeing you in the group. Have a beautiful day, ladies, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.